see. Go to Google Classroom so you can see the announcement. Once again, it's office hours. I'll be working on 0.1 through 0.3 and just working on problems constantly during this time. If you have your notebook or anything to write down stuff with, I would suggest taking them out at this time because we'll just be working on problems the whole entire time. Right. We'll start about 2 more minutes. Awesome. So these are office hours, like I said. You have any questions, you can post here on the chat box, or you can go to Piazza, and I have a live Q&A right now. So anything that has any questions you want to post during this time will pop up here, and you can post either publicly or anonymously. And that way, it's a pretty cool feature to have in case you want to use the Piazza feature. So you can either do the chat box publicly or privately, or you can also just post here on Piazza. My screen looks different from yours. Yours is actually going to have like a live Q&A section where you can actually post questions within that section. We'll start in about a minute and a half. Welcome for everyone who are here. Hello. Happy Thursday. I hope everyone's been having a good morning. Hopefully people got a good amount of sleep. It's super like cloudy today, which is awesome. Like it's my drive here was really like cool, and it wasn't as hot, and it felt really nice. Like I wasn't sweating when I was leaving my car, so it was really awesome. We got 1 more minute and we'll get started on these office hours. If you feel like you're good, either way, by the end of the session, the Edpuzzle is already posted there. So you already have an Edpuzzle assignment on Google Classroom where you have to follow a video and answer questions as you go along. It's our first little lab experiment, if you must say. All you need is just 3 ingredients, and you can literally follow along if you want to, or you can just watch, whatever you want to do. Excuse me. About 3 more minutes. Sorry, about 30 more seconds. If you have any questions throughout, I'll be going over 0.1, 0.2, and 0.3. But afterwards, if you have any questions, just put in the chat box, and I'll be able to answer them. Or you can go to Piazza, and there, if you go to Piazza, there's actually a live Q&A going on right now, where you can actually post questions there as well. So I'll be looking at both of them. Good morning, Caleb. Hello. Good morning. Thank you for putting the chat box. Good morning. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. Okay, time is up. Let us begin. If you haven't done so, please grab a handout. Grab your notebook or a sheet of paper at this time. If you have a notebook or paper in front of you to write down, please give me a thumbs up. Thumbs up if you have your notebook and or a sheet of paper in front of you, or a Google Doc. Maybe you want to do the work through the Google Doc. I wouldn't suggest it unless your screen is touchscreen. But yes, whichever of these you have. Thank you, Daniela. You have your notebook ready. Thank you, Sarai. You have your notebook ready as well. Give me a little check mark, a yes or a thumbs up if you have your notebook or a piece of paper in front of you. Awesome. Thank you, Alonso. Thank you, Sonia. So you guys have your notebooks ready. I'll give about 1 more minute. Give me a thumbs up if you have your notebook or a piece of paper in front of you so we can get started. A sketchpad is fine, yes. As long if you can say, as long as you're able to save your work, and probably like title it, like office hours notes. That way you can keep yourself organized. But yes, Caleb, a sketchpad is actually super, super good. Okay, I'm missing. It's okay. Thank you. Like I said, Sonia, thank you, Ruby, for having your. Give me a thumbs up. Thank you, Dulce, as well. Awesome. Thank you, April. Thumbs up or a check mark if you guys have your notebook, sketchpad, or even a piece of paper ready for you guys. Awesome. About 15 more seconds before we get started. Thank you, Caleb. Okay. Awesome. Let's get started, guys. Okay, at this time, let's go into our right here. We have this little screen right here. I'm gonna flip my Chromebook so you're gonna be able to see my double chin again because the camera's gonna be on the bottom part. So just bear with me. Okay, this is the first thing we're doing. We're gonna go over 0.1 real quick, okay? Just a quick overview of this. At this time, I'm gonna give you about 30 seconds to write this down. Kilo, hecto, deca, unit, deci, centi, and milli. About 30 seconds to write that down real quick. And while you guys do that, I'm gonna look and see if there's any questions right now. Seems like there isn't. Okay, I'm gonna do something real quick. Okay, we're good. Sorry. Okay. Okay, sorry about that. That should be good now, hopefully. Okay, there you go. Let's get started. Okay, so 0.1 was basically an introduction to the units, right? So these are the three main units we're using in physics. We're using the gram, we're using the meter, and we're using the second. Okay, those are the three main ones we're using. We're using gram, meter, and second. Those are the three main units we're going to be focusing on. Now, the three main prefixes we'll be using are kilo, are deci. Oh, my bad, not deci, my bad. Kilo. Oh my gosh. Centi, there you go. And milli. And obviously the standard one too. So we're using three of them. We're using kilo, centi, and milli. And obviously, let's write them down with the acronyms. We know it's kilo and grams is kilograms. We know centi and grams is centigrams. And we know milli and grams are milligrams. Let's do that with the other ones. We know kilo and meter is kilometer. We know centi and meter is centimeter. And we know milli and meter is millimeter. And let's do one more. Let's do seconds. We got kilosecond. We got centisecond. And we have the most common millisecond. Give you guys about 20 seconds to write that down. There's no questions so far, so that's good. You have questions, you can always chat me publicly or anonymously, whatever you prefer. So those are the three main units we're using: gram, meter, and second. If you want to be more specific, I can actually give you more specifics. Gram, remember, gram is mass. Meter is either distance or length. Oh, that's not my bad. Or length. And second is time. Okay? I'm going to magnify this a little bit more so you can see it. There you go. So write that down real quick. That is it for 0.1. The only other big thing is that what kind of system is this? Well, this is the metric system. Woo! Metric system, okay? This is there's no questions, that's good. Metric system, okay? So that's all you need to know for that part right there. This is 0.1 right here. This is all we learned on this first day. Gram, meter, second, metric system. These are metric systems, and the prefixes are much easier, okay? Let's go. Let's go. I'm going to actually stop right here. Any questions so far on this 0.1? Any questions? You can chat with me privately. I'll give you about a minute for that. Or you can go to Piazza and you can post anonymously and I can answer that question as well. About 1 minute to see if you have any questions. Or if you feel comfortable, you can also come off mute. Remember, this is a very safe space for all of us, okay? We're still learning all these online stuff. If you have any questions, you can just finish writing this down. You can start a new section for 0.2. We're about to go into 0.2. About 30 more seconds. If there's any questions, someone will writing down, hopefully. For right now, I'm gonna, Oh, I cannot copy this? Oh, I can't copy that. Okay. Oh, actually, I can't copy it. No, I can't copy it. Okay, let's move on. Awesome. Let's go. I'm going to start a new one real quick. I'm going to duplicate this. And then I'm going to actually erase some of the stuff. Woo! Let me erase this. I wasn't really prepared for this, so I had to adjust a bit. And then before I continue, I'm going to make another copy, so I'll be ready for next time. Look at me making adjustments. Oh my gosh, excuse you. I'm gonna move. Just not gonna move. Oh, here you go. Let's do one more. Okay, sweet. Now let's go to 0.2, shall we? 0.2 is actually my favorite one because it's all about transfers. Okay. Okay. It seems like we got a question. That the person who just asked me the question, it's okay. Just follow along with us, and then hopefully there will be more clarifying for you. Okay. This Zoom is recorded, so you can always come back and watch the recordings as well. So just follow along with us. Okay. Here's the first thing I want you guys to do. I want you guys again to write this down: kilo, hecto, deca, unit, deci, centi, and milli. And then I'm going to do our standard units. You know, we have our standard units. We have the gram, the meter, and the second. These are our standard units. The standard we're using. So it gives about a couple of seconds to write that down. Now, let's go over some quick conversions, okay? Some very quick conversions. I'm going to put a couple of problems right here. Please write them down as we go into it. I'm going to do a different color so we can separate them real quick. Let's do, let's see, convert 30 meters to, let's say, millimeters. That's one of them. Let's do another one. Let's do a green one. Let's do 50.5 kilometers to, let's do meters. And then let's do a little toughy one. Let's do actually, let's do grams now. Let's do a long one. Let's do 12.6. No, not that. Let's do a little bit bigger. Let's do 12,600 milligrams to how many kilograms? Let's do that right there. Write that down real quick. I think someone joined in, so let me make sure. Awesome. If you're joining us right now, we're currently going over 0.2. Right now, what we're doing, write this down, write kilo, hecto, deca, unit, deci right here, our little device right here. We're using gram, meters, and seconds, our standard units, and then we're going to work on 3 problems real quick. Now, I apologize early on the first couple of days. I was really all over the place, and so I may have confused more people. My second session always ended up being better because I corrected my mistakes in my first session, so I really apologize for that. But moving forward, I will be more cognizant of that. So let's work on our first one real quick. Now, we have 30 meters, right? And I want to get millimeters. How many millimeters are there in 30 meters, right? Well, this is a little device I'm going to help you guys with, okay? This is very simple. Always start off with what you know. Well, I know my meter, right? And I want to get what? I want to get millimeters. So let's go on this little table right here, on this, not table, this little figure right here. Let's go where my standard's at, because that's where I'm starting off, right? So I'm starting off in meter right here. Oh, right here. Right? Now, I know millimeter is right here. So how many times do I have to move in order to get to millimeters from meter, right? So let's see, we got move 1, it's deci, 2 times is centi, and then 3 times is milli. So how many times did I move? Correct. I moved 3 times to the right. So that's going to mean my decimal is going to move 3 times to the right. So if I start with my 30 meters, I know there's an imaginary decimal right there. What do I do? How many times did I move to the? I moved 3 times, but not just any direction. I moved 3 times to the right. What happens with those empty spaces? I literally just put zeros on it. And so what's my new number? 30,000 what? 30,000 millimeters. And that's literally it. Okay, guess about 10 more seconds to write that down. And then we're gonna move on to the next one. If you feel comfortable, move ahead and then see if you got the answer right as we go over it. Right now, I don't see any questions so far, so hopefully that's okay. In the end, I'll give you guys some time for that. Let's work on the second one. Okay, I'm gonna move this to green. Now we have 50.5 kilometers, and I want to convert it to what? To meters, right? So let's do this real quick. I know my kilometers is right here, right? Right here. And I want meters, which is right here. So how many times do I have to move it? Well, I have to move it 1 to get to hecto, 2 to get to deca, and what? 3 times to get to meter. So I move how many times? I move 3 times to the what? Again, the right. Now, it won't always be the right, but in this case, these problems, it has been to the right. So if I actually go back and work on this problem, I know 50.5 is right there. So how many times do I move it? I move it 3 times to what direction? To the right. So that 5 already took a space, but I still have 2 empty spaces. So what should be there? It should be 2 zeros. So what's my new number? 50.5 kilometers converting to meters is 50,500 meters. Boom, shakalaka right here. Give about 15 seconds to finish writing that down. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Last one. The last one's a little bit tricky because it's such a big number, okay? Because we know milligrams. Here, we have milligrams, right? We know milligrams is the smallest unit we're going to be working with. And we know kilograms is the biggest unit, right? So that means the disparity is going to be so far. Because look, milli is all the way on one side. And where's kilo? Literally on the other side. So it's going to be a very, very small number for kilograms. But let's work on that. Okay, where do I start off with? I start off in milli, right? So I'm going to start off right. Ooh, I don't have space. I'm going to erase it, okay? I'm going to erase it, some of it, just so I can have space. Once again, if you haven't written this parts I'm erasing, there's a recording that I'll be posting later on. Okay, let's do this real quick. So we start in milli. Boom, right there. And we want to get all the way to, boom, kilo. So let's see how many times I move it. I move it 1 centi, 2 deci, 3 my standard units, 4 deca, 5 hecto, and boom, 6 kilos. So I moved how many times? 6 times to my, not right this time, but to my left. Now this is going to be very tight because I have such small space. But let's see if you guys can hopefully see this. So we got 12,600, right? So 12,600. Where's, oh, that you cannot see that number correctly. 12,600. Now, where's my decimal? My decimal is right here, my imaginary decimal point. How many times do I move it? 6 times to my left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I only have 1 empty space. So what do I do there? I put a 0. So what's my final number? 12,600 milligrams into kilograms is 0.0126 kilograms. Oh, I did not like the way that looked. There you go, kilograms. And that's pretty much it on that part. Give you guys about 20 more seconds to write that down. Once you finish writing that down, give me, let's see. Give me a thumbs up if you would like for me to work on a couple more problems in this, well, with this little method. Maybe you just want to see a couple more problems real quick. Give me a thumbs up if you would like to, if you'd like for me to see, to put a couple more problems in here. Probably just work on a couple more, probably like 3 more. Okay, I see 1. Okay, awesome. Let's see. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I see check marks and thumbs up. Yeah, I think more practice is always good. Thank you for the ones participating. Have 4 people who would like to see another a couple more problems. Okay. Now, at this point, I'm going to work on a couple more problems. But if you have a certain problem that you haven't been able to do, just privately chat with me, and I'll be able to do it for you right here. But for now, I'm going to work on problems that are coming up to my mind, okay? So let's move on real quick. Okay, let's work on this problem again. Let's work on a couple more problems here. For the ones who feel like they're good to go, thank you for your patience. We'll move along in a little bit, but I think some more practice is always good. So here's my unit right here. Once again, if you have a specific problem, just put in the chat box and I'll be able to answer it. But here we go. Let's do a couple more problems. Let's do right here. Let's do red. Let's do a little different ones, right? Let's do 12. Let's do an easy one so far. 12 centiseconds to how many kiloseconds? Okay, so 12 centiseconds to how many kiloseconds? Okay, let's work on that one real quick. No, actually, I'm gonna write another ones right here, so you guys can actually write them down. Let's do 13.64 kilograms to, let's say, how many grams? And then let's do a little tricky one. Let's do let's do this one. 600.34 decimeters to how many? Oh, you can't see that. Hectometers. Hectometers. Okay, and that'll make more sense at the end. Hopefully you guys can see that. It's a little bit rough, but hopefully you guys can see that. Okay, let's work on this problem real quick. This is the first one. You guys can move ahead to see if you guys get it correctly. Let's do 12 centiseconds into kiloseconds. So what do we know so far? We know centi and we know kilo, right? So let's say my centi is right here. And where's my kilo? All the way right here. So you can already know it's going to be a very, very small number because we're almost at the end of the spectrums. So let's see how many times. I start out with what I know. I know centi right here. So I move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times to my what? To my left. That means I have to move the decimal point on this number. I'm going to move it to the side because I know it's going to be a lost space. 5 times to my left. So I'm going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 3 empty spaces. So I'm going to put my zeros right here. So my new number is 0.00012 what? Not centiseconds, but kiloseconds right there. Awesome. Let's move on to the next one. Actually, I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to write that down because I want you guys to fall behind. Give about 20 seconds to write that down. Let me see if there's any question. Oh, someone put on the, oh, this F puzzle was pretty cool. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, my heart. Thank you for loving my F puzzle. I'll comment in a bit. Okay, sorry. Let me go back to track. Okay, next one. 13.64 kilograms, right? So what do we know so far? We know kilo, and we know what? Just a standard gram, right? So if we focus on here, let's start off with my kilo is right here. And I want to end up where? On my standard unit, the standard unit, which is gram. So how many times do I move? I move 1, 2. Oh, I messed up. Sorry. I misinterpreted. 1 hecto 2 deca, and boom, 3 to my standard unit. So I moved how many times? 3 times to my right. Right? Right, correct. So let's do it right here. 13.64. And how many times do I move it? 3 times to my right. Add a 0. 13,640. So 13.64 kilograms. And you transfer it to grams, it becomes 13,640 grams. Give you about 20 more seconds to write this down. Okay. Let's do a different color as well. I'm going to do this one. Okay. Nice. Now let's do the next one. 600.34 decimeters converting to hectometers. So I have deci and I have hecto, right? So deci is right here. I'm going to highlight this. And hecto is what? Right here. So even though we're not going to be using these ones that at all, oh, excuse me, I still would like for you guys to use it for practice, you know? So I'm actually going to erase my red one real quick so I can have space for it. Because this Jamboard, as awesome as it is, it really doesn't leave a lot of space for you to work on problems, which kind of sucks. I'm going to have to get a bigger one. We'll see. Okay, so let's work on this real quick. I know I start with decimeters, and I want to go to hectometers. So I see how many times I move it. I move it 1, 2, 3 times. 3 times to my what? 3 times to my left. So even though we don't have practice, we don't have that much experience with hecto or deci, you can still you still know how to do it. So we get the 600.34, and I move it how many times? 3 times to my left. 1, 2, 3. So that becomes 0.60034 hectometers. Okay. About 30 more seconds to write that down before we move on. Now, as we finish this up with 0.2, we're going to go with 0.3, which will be the using units to solve problems. So are there any questions with 0.2? Are there any questions so far with converting units from one units to the other? Any questions of that so far? You can private chat me real quick, or you can also go to the Q&A on Piazza. As somebody see, someone who posted it, it actually has there's no way for us to know who it is. Oh, actually it is. My bad. It's there. I am. My bad. Hello. Well, I guess I'm the only one who knows, but since you're looking at my screen, obviously you see my stuff. But if you want to post on here, you can also post on here. Okay. Take about 20 more seconds for any questions so far. If not, we're going to move along. We have about 20 more minutes, which would be enough time for the 0.31, which I think is the one most people had trouble with. Okay. Let's begin for 0.3. Once again, actually, you don't need this in this situation, actually. So let's do this real quick. We can actually erase this. We don't need this. But what I do want you guys to draw right now, I want you guys to draw this triangle for 0.3. Draw me this right here. Okay. Give me a thumbs up if you're ready to start with the 0.31 real quick. Give me a thumbs up if you're ready to start with 0.3. Thank you, April. Thank you, Daniela. Alonso Dulce, gracias. Thank you so much. Emily, thank you. I see Ruby. Thank you so much, Ruby. Thumbs up if you're ready to start on the third unit of units, the third section of unit 0. Awesome. Thank you. Oh, I have 2 more people. Caleb, thank you. Sarai, thank you. Okay. I'm missing 3 people, but I think it should be okay now. Let's get started. Okay. So we have this right here. Now, this is a great way for us to keep track of our units. Okay. So very quickly, I want you to draw me. I want you to, I guess I'm highlighting it, but just somewhere in your notes, just put this as an indication. So I'm highlighting it. You can like highlight it or star it, whatever. But basically, this is where 2 or more units are put there. 2 or more units. You're going to put 2 or more units here. So for example, if it's meters per second, it's going to go there. If it's meters per second squared, it's going to go there. If it's gram per cubic centimeter, which is density, if it's grams per mole, basically anything that has 2 or more units together. Oh, what did I do? I think I just made it bigger. Sorry, I magnified it. Sorry. Anything that has basically 2 or more units together will go in this section in the bottom right. So meters per second, that's 1 right there. That's 2 of them. Meters per second, that's 3 units. Grams per cubic centimeter, that's 4 units. And grams per mole, that's 2 units. You don't need to know what grams per mole is. It's a chemistry unit, but we're just using it for an example, okay? So what's going to go on here, right? Or like Mr. Castillo, what's going to go on these other ones? Well, in this section right here, you're going to separate those units. So what does that mean? Here, if I do an example right here real quick. Let's say let's do grams per cubic centimeter, right? Well, I know my gram per cubic centimeter is going to go down here because it has 2 or more units, gram per cubic centimeter. And what do I do on the other ones? Well, I separate them. I put the gram on top and I put the cubic centimeter at the bottom. Let's try another one real quick. Let's do the one that we'll be using a lot. Meter per second, right? Well, I know meter per second are 2 units put together. So I'm going to put them on the bottom left. And then, I don't like the way they look. And then I'm going to put where? Where do I put the meter? Well, the meter's on top, so I put it right here. And the second's on the bottom, so I put it right here. Let's do one more example real quick. Let's do gram per mole. Well, I know gram per mole are 2 units put together. So I'm going to put the gram, I keep messing up. I'm going to put gram per mole here. And I put gram on top. And I put mole at the bottom. So anytime you're going to work with problems like these, if you're trying to solve them and keep track of your units, this is the easiest way. Always put the one with the biggest units, the one with the most units on the bottom right. Or the bottom left, but just for simplicity's sake, just keep the bottom right. It's just easier for all of us, okay? Boom, boom, boom. Now, let's work on a problem, shall we? I'm gonna give you guys about 30 seconds to finish writing this down, and then we're gonna move on to a problem. Okay, let's move on. Oh, what is it doing? Why is it doing that? No. It's like freezing up. Okay, sorry. What the heck is going on? I'm like a light show. Okay, sweet. Let us move on. Can someone just give me a thumbs up real quick if you can see my screen, the Jamboard screen real quick? Because I don't know, I feel like I did something wrong and I feel like you may not see it. Okay, thank you. Awesome. Thank you. I was like, oh my God, Mr. Castillo, what's up? Okay. Oh my gosh, why do I keep doing that? It's like a little light show in here. Okay, there you go. Okay, let's move on to an example, right? So let's do an example real quick. Let's write this down. Let's write how many, I'm doing an easy one. How many, what's, no, sorry, no. What's the speed? Oh my gosh, I cannot write today, guys. What is the speed of Carl if he is running, let's do 30 meters in, let's do 6 seconds. Gonna make this bigger for all of us so we can see. Woo! Oh, no, that's not. Woo! Right here. I'll give you guys a couple, about 20 seconds to write this down. What is the speed of Carl if he is running 30 meters in 6 seconds? So let's do our good old pies. It's a great way for us to keep ourselves organized. Now we're going to officially use our pies. So as you do that, I'm going to write this down. Pies. Woo, 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 woo. Okay. Now, let's see what let's draw our picture, okay? Let me see if there's still any questions so far. I think we're good. Okay, awesome. Okay, let's go. Let's do this. There's our little picture, right? A little nice little picture. There's our little Carl just running. Woo! And he's running how far? He's running about 30 meters. He's so fast. Carl's so fast. Okay. What do we know so far? Let's go to information. Well, what do we know? Well, we know 30 meters, right? We know that's distance. So we know the distance. He's trying to travel 30 meters. What else do we know? Well, we know that he's trying to travel that in how long? 6 seconds. So that's time. Right? Now, what is the speed of Carl? Speed, you guys don't know this yet, but hopefully with what you guys have been able to catch on to, I'm trying to find speed, and speed is what? Meters per second. Okay? You know, how fast you driving? I'm driving like, 50 meters per second, stuff like that. So let's go on to our equation. You use our little box, okay? You use sorry, not the box, the triangle we've been working on. Well, what do we know so far? Well, we know that we have meter, second, and then a combo meter per second. So between those three, which one is the biggest one? The one that has the most units? Meter per second has the most unit. So what do? We put meter per second on the bottom right corner. Okay? So what does that mean with the other ones? Well, with the other ones, that means we just put them in their respective sections. Meter goes on top because it's on the top, and second goes on the bottom because it's right below on the denominator. So that's what we have so far. So what should be your next step? Well, your next step should be plugging it in. Let's actually plug it in real quick. So let's make another triangle a little bit bigger because I have to put numbers in here. So what do I know so far? Well, I know meters, right? Meters is what? Meters is 30 meters, right? So let's do this. 30 meters goes on top, right? And then what else do I know? Well, I know seconds. I know 6 seconds. So what do? I put 6 seconds on the bottom left where I had reflecting. What's the only thing I don't know? Well, the only thing I don't know is my meters per second, which I'm trying to solve. So that one just stays by itself. Okay? So let's try solving it, okay? Shall we? Let's try solving it. So by solving this, it's actually pretty straightforward. So now we have what? We have, let's do this. 30 meters over 6 seconds, right? So we have 30 meters over 6. The reason I'm saying over is because the 30 is on top. Oh, sorry. The 30 is on top of the 6. So it's kind of like a fraction. So we actually go over here to solving it, 30 meters over 6 seconds. And look right here. What happened to my units? Look at that, meters per second. So that's literally what I'm trying to find. I'm trying to find meters per second. So what's 30 divided by 6? You guessed it. Speed equals 5 meters per second. Give about 20 seconds to finish writing that down. And then we're gonna work on the tougher one. We're gonna work on a tougher one. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Let us begin. On to the next one. Can you give? No, I'm gonna give about 15 more seconds just to double check everyone's good to go. Actually, give me a thumbs up if you guys have finished writing down that problem, so we can do one more. Give me thumbs up if you have finished writing the problem. Okay, awesome. Someone's asking me to do the second question of yesterday's handout. I think that's good. Yeah, I can definitely do that real quick. Let's see. I'm actually gonna do something real quick. So I'm flipping my camera out as well again. So let's do 0.2. Oh no, yesterday, right? So 0.3. Second problem, right? So question. What's freezing? Why is it freezing? Okay, second question. Yes. Look at this. This is a little bit tricky, right? Copy and paste that real quick. This is the second problem from yesterday's exit ticket. So let's see if we can do this one real quick. Let's try copying this down real quick. This is a little bit longer, so I'm actually going to give you. Oh. Okay. I'm about to give you 30 seconds to write this down because it is a little bit bigger. And while you guys do that, I'm gonna draw my class just so we can have it organized. I'm glad someone actually put this problem, asked for this problem, because this one is a little bit trickier when it comes to using the little triangle thing I told you about. Okay. Oh, I have no space whatsoever. It's okay. Okay. Okay, you have about 20 more seconds to write that down. Marissa's car is accelerating at a rate of 30 meters per second. What's the average speed, meters per second, of her car in a span of 300 seconds? Woof. There's a lot going on, right? So let's start off with our picture, right? Let's start with our Gucci picture. So Marissa's driving a car. Woo! Look at that. Right? And it's driving at a speed of 30, or accelerating at a speed of 30 meters per second, which is also known as meters per second squared. Okay? So let's see. What do we know so far? Oh, what do we know so far? There you go. Yes. What do we know so far? Well, let's look at the, oh my gosh, literally cannot touch it. Okay. Information. Well, we know that she's accelerating at a rate of 30 meters per second, right? So we know her acceleration equals 30 meters per second. I'm gonna go per second squared because that's the easier one for me, okay? Now, what else do we know? Well, we know this the time, right? We know how long it took for her to get there. So it took her 300 seconds. That's time. What are we trying to figure out? Well, it says right there. What is the speed? What is the average? Oh, no. Highlighted. What's the average speed, right? Boom, right there. What's the average speed? So I'm trying to find, literally, I'm trying to solve for speed, which is meters per second. Okay. You guys a couple more minutes to do that. A couple more seconds to write that down real quick. Okay. Let's continue. Let's draw a triangle, right? Right here. Well, what goes on the bottom right? What do we go? What goes on the bottom right? The one with the most units, right? So which has the most units? Is it meters per second, seconds, or meters per second? Well, in this case, it's meters per second, right? Meters per second what? Squared. So that one's going to go on the bottom one, meters per second squared, because it has three different ones. It has meters and it has 2 seconds. So meter per second squared. Now, what do I do with the rest of them? I literally just I put them where they belong. Right away, I know that meters per second, whatever happens, I know second is going to be in the bottom. No matter what happens, second is going to be in the bottom. So automatically, I can just put second on the bottom. And what's left? Well, my meter per second. So I'm going to put that right here. Meter per second. Now, what do we do? Let's plug in. Let's actually plug in these values. See how tricky that was? That was a little bit tricky, huh? That was a little bit tricky because it has 2 units that have more than two values of them. So, but you know, it was pretty easy to figure out. Okay, so meters per second squared is on the bottom right. My meters per second is on top, and my second is in the bottom. So, do I know my meters per second? I do not know my meters per second. So I cannot do anything with that right now. But what do I know? Well, duh, I know my seconds, right? I know it's 300 seconds. So I'm going to put 300 seconds here. And what else do I know? I know my meters per second, which is 30 meters per second squared. So what happens when they're not on top of each other, but they're right next to each other? What happens when 2 numbers are right next to each other and there's nothing in between them? Well, you multiply. So you take 300 seconds times 30 meters per second squared. And what do you get? Well, actually, look at this right here. What's second over second squared? Well, we know when it comes to powers, we know that's a little 1. So we know that this cancels out and this becomes a 1. Okay? So my S cancels out and the 1 at the bottom becomes a 1, which is just what? Meters per what? Meters per second. So what's 300 times 30? 300 times 30, when I know 3 times 3 is 9. And how many zeros I have? 1, 2, 3 zeros. So 1, 2, 3, 9,000 what? Meters per second, which is what I was trying to figure out. Speed. There you go. The reason I know I have to multiply is because they're right next to each other. So the person who asked me, how do you know you have to multiply? If there's something missing on top, then that means there's 2 at the bottom. So that means you have to multiply them because they're right next to each other. Now, if in the other example I gave you, there was 2 that were on top of each other, right? And then when they're on top of each other, you divide because you're missing something on the side. But when they're right next to each other in this triangle, like this is the only reason you'll multiply. When they're right next to each other, you multiply. But when they're on top of each other, like this, you divide. It just depends where they're located. But the reason I knew to multiply was because they were literally right next to each other in the triangle. 300 was right next to 30. They were both at the bottom. Wow, it's 9:20 already? Damn. Okay, guys. Well, that's literally it. I'm gonna leave the Q&A open here. I'm gonna stop it. Start. I'm gonna leave it for about 1 day. So if you guys have any questions throughout the day, just write them down, and I'll be able to answer them on the next session. Okay. But that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoy the Ed puzzle, and hopefully you guys were able to get more clarification on today. I hope everyone has a great day. You're welcome. You're welcome, guys. Have a great day. Adios, everyone. Goodbye, my peeps. Awesome. I'm glad it clears it up, April. I'm really glad it does clear it up. Have fun. Enjoy today. And goodbye, Emily. And have a great sessions for the rest of the day. Goodbye, Ruby. Enjoy the Ed puzzle, okay? Adios. Yeah, have a good day, Aaron. Thank you, Leila, for saying that. Thank you. Awesome. You too, April. Awesome. Goodbye, Leila, April, and Sarai. Goodbye. Goodbye. Adios. I'm about to end this session.